Hey guys, it's Nikki. Welcome to Scratching the Dirt. This is going to be another Scratching the Surface video. I have not been out in the garden all week long. It's been a really busy week, and so it's Saturday morning. I got out here about 30 minutes ago, and I've already started sweating, and it's not even that hot outside. But I've got a lot to clean up, and we're going to just do some chores and talk about a couple of things from this week, some things I've been thinking about. But I've got a few more like lifting. I got to lift some pots and stuff, and I've got a few more of those to do before I actually strap on the POV and get into it. But I just wanted to, while I'm taking my break, I just wanted to say good morning, hi, welcome, and I hope you enjoy this video. Okay, so I've got my mask here. I'm not doing a full coop clean out, but when I went in there earlier, I saw that one of the nesting boxes had a lot of poop in it. So I'm going to clean that out real quick. And I'm still waiting for my breathing to slow a little bit from all the, I just lifted a bunch of soil and stuff. But we're going to get into it. I'm going to go ahead and start filming and catch you up on what's going on. Hi, girls. Uh-oh, you're in the dirty nesting box. Okay. Cool, she moved. So I'm sorry to bother you, but look, this one that they don't use just gets covered in poop. And then this one that they do use, I saw all this poop. It looks like she stirred it up a little bit. But I'm putting on my mask because when I stir up the poop, I don't want to be breathing that. So, and whatever falls on the ground, I'm fine with, because it'll get raked and scooped from down there. But we're gonna do this. I'm gonna catch you up on, or let you know what I'm doing today, and then we're gonna start talking about a couple of things. See, look at all that. That's not all just like poop being stirred up. There's lime in here too. So that white powder you see is lime. Try to keep we had trouble earlier this year with some insects getting into the nesting boxes, and then all the eggs were getting broken because I guess the chickens were being eaten, like bit by, it was ants, I think. And then like in their little spazziness, they were breaking all the eggs. And I was like, we want eggs. So girls, y'all know what's going on. I do this a lot. So anyway, this, I may need to think about a different nesting situation. I don't know. Just because this one box is basically, it's like they play in it or something. They just come poop in here. They don't ever lay an egg over here. So anywho, I'm gonna do this real quick. Like I said in the intro, I haven't been in the garden all week. I've done the chickens, I've done the water and the eggs, and you know, the treats and all that stuff, but I haven't been out in the garden. So my main goal for today is definitely garden, but I don't want these girls sitting on this poop. So this week has been really busy. It's so funny, I've talked about it before in a different video, but I quit my full-time job and I'm busier than I've ever been. Not ever, but busier than I've been in a long time, as far as, you know, like just work stuff goes, which is what I wanted, because I wanted to be able to do the things with my time that I want to do. And so that part of it has been awesome. The thing I'm adjusting to, see, I'm gonna put new pine in here. The thing I'm adjusting to is, you know, it takes a lot of hours to make the same amount of money that I used to make. And I don't have a problem with that. I've never had a problem working when I'm either, when I enjoy it or when the job is fulfilling. So I'm not mad about that at all. I worked. And that's the other thing too, is that when I'm doing gig work, I can do a 6-hour shift and be exhausted, like physically exhausted, just because I'm not accustomed to it. I think I've only done one like actual 8-hour shift this whole time, but I'll get there. Yesterday was a long day. Yesterday, I got to turn on this water. Yesterday, I went into town at, I left my house at like 10. I had to go by the pharmacy and pick up a prescription for Jose. And then I went into town to get my teaching materials because I start my new job next week. So I went into town, got the teaching materials, chatted with them for a little while. And then I was like, okay, let's get to work. So I think I went and got gas. And then I think I turned on some apps. I'll have to go back and look, but I think it was about 11:30 in the morning by the time I got my first order. And I started with Uber because Shipt is my favorite. It's my jam. It's the thing I like to do. But there were no orders. And so I was like, well, I'm in town. I need to make some kind of money. So I did. I accepted an Uber order. And, oh, that's heavier than I was expecting. Okay. I accepted an Uber order. And then on my way, they sent me a second one. You know how, well, I don't know if you know, but they will like stack them. Like if you're on your way somewhere and you're close to somewhere else that somebody wants food from, then it'll get sent to you. And so while I was on my way to deliver bagels, I got an order they added a Taco Bell. So I went, did that, and then on my way, and of course, both of those orders were like out there to deliver. The people were quite a ways away. After I finished just those 2 Uber orders, I looked and I'd already driven 27 miles just for those 2 orders. I was like, okay, here we go. Big day, big long trips. But anyway, so while I was in that process, my husband's making eyes at me through the window. During those trips, I got my first shipped order. I have no idea what I was talking about. Jose came outside after he was making eyes at me through the window, and then he was like, "Why do you have a mask on?" I was like, "Oh yeah, I completely forgot I had the mask on. I'm not in the chicken coop anymore." But anyways, he's going to go do some stuff with his dad, and I'm going to continue. Because I've been lifting all this heavy stuff, I'm taking a moment to just water. I'm just going to water and, rest my body for a second. But I was talking about yesterday how I had a long day. So I did the couple of Ubers, and then I started on Shipt, and that's what I did the rest of the day. It was weird yesterday, like the day prior. So Thursday, I felt weird, like, and it happened to Jose too. Like I felt not physically tired and not even like mentally tired. I didn't have any get up and go. Like I still worked, I still did a ton of things, but I just didn't have any want to. And so yesterday it kind of continued a little bit. I was like, okay, I'm in town early. I'm going to have a long day. I'm going to do a lot. It's going to be great. And then at like 3 o'clock in the afternoon, I'm walking through a store yawning. Like, it was really weird. But Shipt has, like, if you do a certain number of orders between certain hours, you get a bonus. And so I was like, okay, I'm hitting the bonus and then I'm going home. And that's exactly what I did. I got home, I think, around 7:30 last night. I was like donezo for the day. And then I think what's going to end up happening, at least during college football season, is that Saturdays are going to be my day off. I know I'm going to work tomorrow. I just worked the last 6 days in a row. And Saturdays are my day to make sure I get out here, do the things that need immediate attention that I didn't do during the week. And uh, then I'm going in to watch football for the rest of the day. I also, during the rest of the day while I'm watching football, I have to start planning for what I'm going to teach on Tuesday because I start that new job. So I got to get through that book and start learning the content, like what it is that we need to start with. But there's a couple of things that I do want to talk about, the couple of things that were kind of big and kind of heavy on my brain this week. And they are choosing your hard and ruminating. Okay, so those are the two things that have been in my brain, and I want to talk about them because I think they're both really important to kind of process and think through. So first of all, choosing your hard. You know, I saw a video earlier in the week. This may be what prompted my brain to really start to think about this. But I saw a video, and the guy was talking about choosing your hard. And he said in the video, you know, things like he had lost a lot of weight, and he was like, yeah, losing the weight was really hard, but it wasn't as hard as living in a body I wasn't comfortable with. And he talked about working a job where he was unfulfilled. He was like, yeah, changing and going out there and trying something new is hard, but it's not as hard as being miserable all day during work. And I was like, my brain was like, that's what I did. That's exactly what I did. I never thought of it that way, like choose your hard. Like I didn't think that was the choice. Because here's the thing, y'all, like I said, I worked the last 6 days in a row. You have to work a lot of hours doing deliveries, gig work to make the same amount of money that I was making at my job where I was unhappy. And so it's what I'm doing right now is not easy. It's not easy at all. Like, it's a lot of driving. It's a lot of in and out of the car. It's a lot of making sure I don't mess up. And I'm going to get to that in a minute. And it's, you know, it's hard, especially because it's so far out of my comfort zone. I've said to Jose probably 15 times, I cannot believe that I am having so much fun doing something that used to scare the piss out of me. I did, I think, 4 orders, maybe 5 orders before I quit my job. Yeah. Months ago, back in February, I had done 1 DoorDash and 2 Shipt. And I went, because I was thinking, you know, like extra money. I was like, oh no, this isn't for me. This is not really my jam. This is hard. And like I've said, my perfectionism kicks in and it was too stressful, right? And then before I quit my job, a couple of weeks before that, I did 2 more Shipt orders. And then I decide that I can do this full time so that I can get out of my job. And choosing my heart is exactly what I did. And I am so grateful that I did it. I am so happy that I finally, after being unhappy in my position for 1.5 years out of 2.5 years, I finally said, okay, no more. We're taking the jump. And I chose, rather than finding another position that was comparable in pay, I chose to go with this. And I chose this mostly because it's much more physical. And I couldn't really think of other physical jobs. Couldn't find anything. locally that was available. You know, there's always like ranch work or, you know, all this stuff. And I'm like, I can't lift 100 pounds. I can't do these things physically, but I want a physical job. So this to me worked. You're in and out of the vehicle. When I do shift, I'm shopping. So it's not like I'm just picking up and then getting right back in the car. You're actually shopping for people, actually buying their groceries or their items. And so the physicality, my health was one of my mental health and my physical health were main motivators there. And so I couldn't find a job that was similar to what I was doing or with a similar pay. The market just wasn't there. The job market, it wasn't there. So I went, okay, so I can keep trying and looking and stick this out, or I can jump and I can just do this. And what I ended up doing was choosing my heart. And I'm so grateful that I realized that this hard that I'm doing right now is not nearly as hard as the way I was living in my spirit when I was at that position. So I just kind of wanted to talk about that. I kind of, you know, I love listening to all these people who have done amazing things, and I love thinking about what it took for them to get where they're at. And I love thinking about um, myself. And a lot of times I sell myself short and I think, well, oh, I mean, they could do that. That's fine for them, but I can't do that. Well, why not? Why can't I? Why can't I quit my job and then be successful at the thing I've chosen to do, at the thing that brings me joy and happiness and exercise and kind of everything I was looking for. So, you know, I'm learning that if somebody else can do it and I'm willing to put in the time and the effort and the energy, then I can have all those things too. Now, remember too, at the same time, I'm not super aspirational when it comes to like being filthy rich and you know, a lot of times you hear these stories and it's people who are millionaires and you know, sure, $1 million would be great, but that's not my motivator. I've just never been super motivated by money. um you know, I like to make the money. It's just like when I'm doing gigs, I'm like, oh, one more, I can get another, you know, however many dollars. But that's me making a game out of it for myself almost, just to keep me going. I have to trick my brain, especially when I'm tired. I have to trick myself. And so I do use money as a motivator in that way. But I don't see money as a motivator enough to just continue to be miserable forever and ever. Amen. Because that was always the thing that I came back to was, oh, the money, the money, the money. Well, you know, I'm trying to be more like Jose now, where, you know, you can always go make more money. And the great thing about gig work is you truly can always just go make more money. Like, you might have to put in extra hours. Sometimes you have to get lucky and get the good orders, but you can always make more money. So I'm not letting that be a big worry, because it's going to happen. Like, the amount of money we need to pay our bills and live is going to happen. I have complete faith in it. This week has helped because I've worked a lot, and I've already made way more this week than I have in the previous 2 weeks. And so it's really exciting. And I'm learning. It's so exciting. But the other thing I want to talk about is ruminating. Ruminating used to be probably up until I don't know, 5-10 years ago, it used to be a huge problem for me. I cannot tell you how much time I spent thinking things like, oh, I should have said this when I was talking to that person, or I should have done this, or playing out entire conversations in my head of how it could have been if I had thought quickly in the moment or said the right thing. I mean, hours upon hours of just ruminating, like over and over and over again, thinking about things. There were times when my brain would go back to like high school. I'd be like, oh yeah, if I'd made this choice, then this could have happened. And it's exhausting and it's pointless, right? So pointless. And at some point, I read a book years ago. I have no idea what book it was. I really don't remember. Like, it was that long ago. But it talked about ruminators, and it talked about how fruitless that activity is. And like, I remember reading it. I remember thinking about it, going, yeah, this applies to me. And then it was a long time before I actually went, okay, let's stop this. And I started developing the tools to stop my brain in the middle of rumination. Side note, I hate this freaking hose. I hate every hose. Hoses don't get along with me. Ugh, I didn't plant that morning glory. So anyway, Jose's, I don't know what he's doing. He was going to his parents and now he's back. So anyway, it took me a while to figure out that ruminating wasn't where it's at, and it's not a good idea. Now I still do it to a degree. I do reflect. So that's the thing, is I kind of reframed it to where I reflect on things that happened, and I try to figure out what the lesson is, or what, whatever I need to know from that. And then I work really, really hard to just drop it, to just let it go and move on. Keep the lesson, but let all that, like, it's like mental role play, right? Like, just stop that. So Thursday night, like I told you earlier, Thursday I just wasn't feeling it, man. Like, it was a rough day. I don't know if it's because we got a little bit of a weather change, or I had actually had a really bad dream the night before and I didn't sleep great. I don't know why, but Thursday, y'all, the host, oh my God, I hate hoses, I swear. Okay, I'm just being super negative. It's just a kink in a hose, Nikki. Like, just fix it and get on with your life. Anyway, so Thursday was like, I wasn't feeling it. It wasn't a great day. Like, as far as my spirit was concerned, I was just bleh. And then at the end of the day, I was working and I had this order, and I had 3 orders at once, and I had a certain amount of time to get them delivered, or they would be late, and I don't like being late. And so I put a ton of stress on pressure on myself to shop it quick, get it checked out, get it delivered, right? And everything was going beautifully. And the shop was going super smooth, and I was just cruising through the store. And after I checked out, I got everything in my car, and I started driving to the first delivery. I went, wait, I think I messed up. And I did. This lady had ordered a singular, like, her whole order was 1 toy for her child, I'm assuming, or for some child. And I got the wrong thing. And here's the thing about that. Shipt has, like, controls in their app to make sure you don't do that. And I overrode it. I overrided it. I don't know how to say that. I'm in the sun. But I made the choice to ignore the thing that was telling me this is not the right item, and basically what had happened was I compared UPCs, but I was on the wrong screen. I was on the screen that was telling me, here's the item you're trying to get, and it's not right. And it showed me that UPC. So when I compared that UPC to the one on the tag, I was like, this is right. This is exactly. Now remember, I was stressed. I was in a hurry. I was trying to make sure, it was completely avoidable. If I had just calmed down, realized that the shop was going great, I still had plenty of time, and just paid attention to the app telling me, like, this is not the right thing, then I would not have made that mistake. I was just not thinking clearly enough to go, oh, wait, it only tells me this when I'm doing it wrong. So I must have something wrong here. And I didn't stop, regroup, and look again for the right product, the right toy. And then it got worse because when I called customer service for Shipped and asked them about it, like what to do, they said I needed to return the item to the store. The customer would be, oh, you scared me. Yeah. You scared me. What are you doing? Okay. Jose snuck up on me and put the keys back in my pocket. But anyways, I called. They said, you can return it to the store. The customer will get a refund. And I asked them, I said, okay, so can I go shop the right thing for them? And they were like, no, I'm sorry. Unfortunately, we can't do that. You've already processed the order. And so the customer will get their refund, but they will have to do a new order to get the right thing. And I was devastated. I was mortified that I made the mistake, and I was devastated that some child was not getting the toy. Like, I don't know. It could have been for a birthday party for 2 weeks from now. Like, I don't know. But man. And that was the last thing I did, was get the refund on that. And then I went home, and then on my entire drive home, and I had even texted Jose about how mortified I was and how awful I felt and how terrible this is and how I suck and all this. Oh, more hose problems. Okay. Football starts in 30 minutes. Okay, I'm going. Thank you, love. You be careful. The traffic's going to be crazy.
That's why I told Dad, I didn't want to. I said, I'm not trying to be over there. I said, that long as they take me down the road, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. I love you. I'll see you later. You got drinks? Okay. And even Jose had texted me, even while I was still in the middle of this like downward spiral of being mad at myself. He was like, it's a mistake. It's okay. Bet you won't do that again. And so, you know, I spent a little while thinking about it. And then suddenly I went, yeah, this is pointless. There is nothing I can do about this at this point. Yes, it was avoidable. Yes, I made a mistake. But the only thing, like, I have no options. My only choice at this point is to learn from it and not do it again. I can't do anything else for that lady whose order I messed up. Out of my control completely. And so I let it go. Like, now I didn't completely let it go, because when I started my shift yesterday and I started working, I had a little pep talk with myself where I went, okay, our goal for today is to stay calm. Don't make any mistakes. Don't put yourself in a position where you might be late, because that too was my fault. I accepted too many orders in the time that I had. Like, if everything went perfectly, I was going to be fine. I would make all three, but I pushed it a little bit, and I didn't have to, but I decided to do that. And so, you know, I pep talked myself yesterday, and then all day long, It's one of the things about spending more hours working gigs is that you don't have to pressure yourself to get things done super, super fast. And you don't have to do what I did to myself. You can, relax and do things in a normal time frame. So yes, I did learn from it. I'm happy to report that my shift yesterday was highly successful. I stayed calm the entire time. I had one little hiccup where a customer shipped lets the customers pick like a delivery hour, like, between 1 and 2 p.m., between 2 and 3 p.m., whatever it is. And you need to hit that delivery hour, especially when there's groceries involved, because if you're early, maybe they're not home yet, right? Like maybe they picked 6 to 7 p.m. because they're not going to be home from work till 5:45, right? And so it's important that you're hitting the delivery hour, and that way people's like milk and stuff isn't just left out on their porch rotting. I had one where I had it all planned out. I was super excited. I had 2 orders lined up. They were 2 delivery hours in a row. I was like, perfect. I'm going to knock this one out. The first one was deliver from 3 to 4. I'm going to knock this one out. It's going to be great. I'm going to have plenty of time. I can just, drive over carefully, blah, blah, blah. Well, then I get to the store and I open up the shopping list to see what's on the thing so I can decide which side of the store I want to start on. And they had put a special request to please deliver closer to 4. Right? Like, I don't have to do that. Technically, I don't have to do that because they picked the delivery when they're 3 to 4. And so I could have delivered it at 3:01 and I still would have been okay as far as ship is concerned. But obviously, I'm a human being and there's a reason why she needed it closer to 4. I don't know what it is. I don't need to know what her reason is. I just need to know that it's important enough to her that she went in and added a message into the shopping list to say, please do this. So I'm sitting at the store at like, I don't know, 3:06 in the parking lot. And because I was being calm, I thought, okay, what am I going to do? Is this going to mess up my 4 to 5 order? And I looked at the map and I looked at the addresses and I looked at what was on the other shopping list, because it was at a different store. And I thought, okay, if I deliver this at 3:45, I can still stay on track. And so since it won't mess me up, I'm going to do it. Like, I'm going to help this lady out. So I did that. That's what I did. And I was super happy with myself after the fact because I didn't let it just blow up my brain, right? I didn't let it blow my whole shift. I didn't let it blow my spirit or my mood or anything. I just very calmly thought it through, looked at the map, and decided, yes, I can do this. Now, maybe she would have preferred that it had been like 3:55. I don't know. But she said closer to 4. And so 3:45 is what she got. And she gave me a tip. So I guess that's okay. Whew, that train loud. Everything's really loud today. The train's going, the neighbor's running something. I don't know. But I want to try to wrap up this thought. Is my microphone even on? Yeah, okay, cool. This was a microphone that cut out on me in the middle of recording the other day. And so I just wanted to check it. Oh, I can't lean. I want to lean because I'm tired. But okay, I didn't actually get to finish my thought. It was weird. Like I checked to see if my microphone was still recording or still working. And I had the POV thing around my neck. Like, it's this thing. Right? Like it goes around your neck and then it clips in and it holds the phone right here. And it films out. Like, that's what you've been looking at. That's what you look at on the Scratching the Surface videos. And I looked down to check the microphone and something just shot through my neck, like pain. Now, I've had this before. I've had it happen before, and I've actually had it happen on the POV camera before. And prior to that, it happened. I used to have a lot of trouble with my neck doing that, and it's this weird pain. It's almost this like crawling out of the skin kind of pain where you like all you want is for it to like just jump out of you, like get out of me. And so I recovered from that, and I am going to probably just stop here. If I probably didn't sum up, like not a very good conclusion. But I am going to go ahead, like Jose said earlier. I don't know if I'm leaving that in, but Jose came out here and told me it's 10:30 earlier, and that college football starts in 30 minutes, and I need to eat. My stomach is actually growling. I ate yesterday at 8:30 in the morning, and so I haven't eaten anything except for a couple of beef sticks since then. So I'm hungry. I need to go cook. But that may be it for this week's Scratching the Surface. I just really wanted to talk about that, choosing your heart and talking about rumination. I'm really proud of myself. Like, I really, really am. Years I've struggled with some of these things, and I feel like I'm finally starting to get there. I feel like I'm finally starting to make good choices for myself, and I'm super excited, and I'm ready to just get stronger and stronger, and I'm ready to share all of that with you guys as it happens. So if this is the end of the video, I hope you guys have a wonderful week. Let me know if you have any experiences with these kinds of things. Let me know about your journey to healing and mental strength and mental health. And subscribe, of course, because I'd love to see you back here again. And I will see you in a week. Bye.